Dear Forex traders, trust you are benefiting from our analysis and Forex trading strategies we share with you. In this Forex analysis, we shall be looking at the analysis of the audusd. So we'll be doing audusd analysis, audusd technical analysis, audusd fundamental analysis, audusd top-down analysis, where we shall be looking at supply and demand zones as always. And the price here is quite at an interesting level. So guys, kindly subscribe to our channel and like so you get notified and updated as we trade forex with Millionaire Logistics. Okay, so for all USD right here, guys, before we look at this, let's look at the sentimental analysis. So I'm just going to say it by word. And we just rounded up with the NFP that just came up from the US, right? So let's look at the fundamental, the news that we shall be looking at for next week, and with respect to the news we saw last week, right? So for June, this is June 3rd, and the NFP reports that we have. So we'll do a quick analysis on how to read this report, right, in this segment. So for the non-farm payroll, which is quite here, right, we see that the previously what we had was 436,000 jobs, like that was added to the US economy in the non-farm sector, right, aside farming and government jobs. Okay, so the expected forecast was 325,000 more jobs to be added, but what was added was actually higher than that, right? What was added was actually 390,000 more jobs as opposed to 325 more jobs. Now this shows strength in the United States dollar. This shows strength in the United States economy, and it becomes a favorable per asset or currency to trade, because there is massive development, right? However, the unemployment rate actually did not do well, because the previous was about 3.6% rise, 3.6% rise in unemployment rate, and the forecast was actually to be lower, right, for 3.5%. However, it didn't change from 3.6%. So with this development, now I believe the Feds, right, the US Fed Reserves will be looking forward to increase the interest rate, and increasing the interest rate will actually do well to the US economy, at least for the meantime, because more investors want to save their money and invest in the US economy rather than going for risky assets, right? Okay, and it has a lot to do with interest rate, so if interest rates are increased, that means interest on savings, on bonds and all that will actually yield more than investors to actually go risk on assets where they'll be borrowing money at higher interest rates and all. Okay, so the US will actually be, the FOMC will be expected, right, to review the interest rates. That will be on the 15th of June. So we should be keeping an eye for central bank interest rates. I mean, the Federal Reserve's interest rates review on 15th of June. Okay. Aside that, we have other news that will be on the June 7th. The Australian dollar cash rate, right? Reserve Bank of Australia rate statement. I think that has to do with the interest rates actually that was reviewed, that was actually released, right, from the Australian side, and they will actually be giving a statement on that, seeing some kind of reviews and all. But other news that we should be looking at for next week that may actually influence the market, right, the volatility of the market. Okay, this is for Canadian dollar employment change. You know what it is. So for this, we just have two figures here, the previous and the forecast, right? There's actually nothing yet, but these ones in red are actually high impact news. The ones in yellow are medium impact news. Okay, so also from the eurozone, the ECB will actually be reviewing interest rates too on June 9th. But however, I don't expect the European Union to actually increase their rates, right? The ECB to be increasing their rates. Why? Because I came across a news that they're actually looking to tighten their rates. So it may be unchanged, it may, but we don't know. We'll be reacting to the market as at when due. And also on the 7th of June to the United States trade balance, right? That news is not reflecting here on Forex Factory, but I do have that on my own personal journal, right? And the United States trade balance. Now, trade balance is a very important one too. And by then, what it just means is that it's the trade balance will actually look at the United States trade, right, with other countries. If the United States is at trade deficit or trade surplus, that means if the United States is doing more of export or more of import. So if the export exceeds the import, that means the economy is actually doing well from the trade standpoint, right? That's they'll be in trade surplus. However, if the import exceeds the export, that means the United States trading, right, trading balance is in a trade deficit, and this will also impact the market, right? Okay, so with that said, guys, let's flip on to the sentimental analysis. So we'll be looking at the COT reports. Okay, so right here, this is the most recent COT reports that have been released. So guys, in a different content, guys, I shall be sharing with you how I read the COT reports. That's the commitment of traders report, and also use that to build confidence around my analysis. Although I need to say this, the COT reports only reflects what happens in the previous week from Tuesday. So as you can see here, the last report here was released on just yesterday by midnight, and it reflected the 31st of May, right? That means the last Tuesday of May, which was 31st of May 2022. So this was the report that was submitted from basically asset managers, hedge funds, leverage funds, and some other no other reportables and all that was submitted on Tuesday. So these positions only guides, what may happen in the coming week. However, they may change, right? So it only reflects what happens in the past week, right? It only reflects what happens in the past week. So from the commitment of traders report from last week, well, we noticed that this is the US dollar index, right? We noticed that the asset managers, and one thing to pinpoint is that I focus mostly on the two things, right? Just this. I focus mostly on this and this, right? That's where I like to put my focus on, right? Okay, so from that perspective, guys, what we noticed was that the asset managers here, what they did, they removed 118 long positions. So they had what they had from last week. What they submitted was 30,554 long positions on the USD index, and then they also removed short positions of 50 short positions. So what they had 1,374 shorts in the market. So on the aggregate, they had more long positions and less short positions. However, they removed more long positions and less short positions. So the leverage funds, actually what the leverage fund did here was to add more short positions. So the leverage funds added 2,208 short positions. And what we had last week, I think that was one of the things that affected the market, because we were waiting to sell the audusd while the market was actually, going up, but we're waiting at the level. So all these activities actually gave rise to increase in odd USD, which we shall be looking at what happened there. So for leverage funds here, leverage funds removed 436 long positions, and they added 2,208 short positions. So the leverage funds had 13,865 long positions as against 28,594 short positions. So the leverage funds were actually net short for last week on the US dollar index. So let's look at what they did on the Australian dollar COT. Okay, so this Australian dollar COT is actually at the last one, that's for 25th, 24th, right, 5th. Okay, let's see something. Okay, sorry, one more thing. Let's look at the most recent, yeah. Okay, so this was for the most recent. Okay, so for Australian dollar, let's look at the recent one. Okay, so for the recent one here for Australian dollar, right, what we see here is very much unique. So the asset managers on the Australian dollar, the asset managers added 2,648 long positions, right, and they removed 3,469 short positions, right? So this, what we see here is that the asset managers here removed more short positions, and they added 2,648 long positions, and the leverage funds here removed 1,464 long positions, and added 2,280 long positions. So what this significantly means here is that the asset managers added more long positions in the market. So last week they were net long on the Australian dollar, right? And the leverage funds here were kind of mixed sentiments, because the average funds here were kind of net short, but just a little bit, right? Net short on the Australian dollar because they added more short positions on the Australian dollar, right? So let's see what will happen for the coming week. That means the report that will be submitted on Tuesday, right? Next week, okay? But this actually shows the activities of those major money guys, right, that influence the market, what they did for last week. So the report for next week, that means the report for Tuesday next week, will actually tell us what they did in that week, in the previous week. So let's delve to the chart. Okay, so I'll be looking at audusd once again. So for last week, actually, what happened here was quite something else. Okay, because our positions actually, our forecast wasn't that right. Right, I'm gonna say that our forecast wasn't that right. Okay, our forecast wasn't that right because this was what happened in the market. We were actually waiting for this level. Okay, so this was the exact level here where we're actually waiting to enter the trade, and what we noticed was that there was a very good reaction here. The market reacted to this point, but it actually broke out. It broke out and it's still coming in. So what transpired here was, I think, the news from the Australian dollar trade report, trade balance report, it was very much positive for the Australian dollar, and it had to influence the market. That was on Thursday. It had to influence the market on Thursday. So on Thursday, yeah, which is here, Thursday, I think, yeah, Thursday here, 2nd of June, Thursday, that was where the impact came in and actually took us. And you can see the market actually, after hitting the stop loss that was here, the market started coming downwards. However, I did on my own had some losses and some wins, but somewhere around here, because I traded this market here, but on a scalping position, breaking even and losing some little trades on that position. So let's look at what we have for this week, guys. For this week, with the NFP actually that we've actually had in mind, and trading with the NFP reports and all that, and seeing that bullish sentiment on the Australian dollar, we want to see that weakening on the odd USD, right? We want to see that fall on the odd USD. I'm expecting that. So from the monthly chart, guys, this is what I can see, right? This is what I can see. Let me use the arrow. Okay, so we find this very much, we find this long week candle. This is more like a bearish engulfing, right? This is a bearish engulfing candle pattern on the monthly chart, right? First off, on the monthly chart, and then what I can say is still price still trying to struggle around this area, okay? Price is trying to struggle around this area, trying to touch, okay? Trying to touch this area. Let me make it black. Okay, trying to struggle around this area. So you can say very much that yes, the price was in an uptrend, and actually after meeting this supply zone around here, the price has been here, this double bottom, so double top around here. So I expect price to react here and see how it can come further to the downside. Now, not forgetting that audusd has actually been in a very sweet downtrend, right? In a very sweet downtrend. So I'm still bearish on the audusd. So I'm still expecting price to fall. Still expecting price to fall at this level on the audusd. So let's go on the weekly chart and see what we have here. Okay, so on the weekly chart here, this is the, remember, this is the monthly, these are weekly EMA that we use, guys. In the Zoom meeting that we actually host from time to time, I do explain why I use the EMA 20, right? I do explain why and how I use it. So on the weekly chart, you can find that from this point here, the audusd had quite been bullish, but from May, from 10th of May 2021, audusd has actually been bearish, and what we see here is this move. right? See here is the high, right? High. You can see here the lower high, the lower low rather, the lower high, lower low, right? There was a kind of double bottom here, and the price went, almost here, meeting at this point, but the price did not break. It only reacted, and it's actually coming back into this lower low. So let's say right here that we have a lower high, right? And from here, since the price has shown massive rejection, price has failed to break and close above the moving average, right? Price has failed to break above the moving average, so we should see some reaction here, and for price to expect that price would fall further to the downside, creating perhaps another lower low, right? Now if our forecast is correct, it shall be reflected in the COT report that will be released for next week. So let me quickly mark the zones that I can see here. Okay, so first off, on the weekly chart here, we have this very much demand zone. You can see price reacting very fine to this zone on this side, to this demand zone on this side, right? Now that's on this other side, and then we also have a supply zone right here, of which we actually traded some time. We actually took some trades off here from this candle. Make it very nice. I'm sorry, on the macro scale, right? Okay, see price coming off this supply zone, right? Okay, so we have our two zones here, right? So this is a dynamic support and resistance line, and so far what we noticed here was after price broke, here price broke somewhere around here, we did a light trade, and at this point here you can see that as price broke in and closed, we actually took a trade here. We actually did analysis and took a trade here. So price has failed to break and close above the moving average, because price may have been seeing some resistance here, like from I think the end on the 3rd of June, right, showed this bearish move, right, falling back into the zone, now reacting to this actual support and resistance. So personally, I would love to see price actually come back into the zone and form a lower low. So I don't want to go deep down into, okay, this is what price has been doing. So guys, regardless, I actually took a little trade that was before the close of Friday, right, from somewhere around here, seeing this, though it was a risky one, but I'll hold this trade till Monday and see if price actually goes in the direction I may want to take that position. So first, let's see some likely scenarios that may happen in the market. So let's say price actually falls down to this zone, right? Maybe price wants to react here and perhaps go up, maybe trying to confirm a kind of inverse head and shoulder, right? That's actually a possibility. So we should be trading safely, proper risk management and all. Okay, so on the 4 hour here, okay, price reacting here on the 4 hour chart, we have this very much little supply zone that was formed here. Why we can see the move, what I see here is, yes, there was a very big massive move here. You have this almost bearish engulfing kind of, but you have this very huge candlestick here. So price may actually come back by Monday. Price may want to by Monday, price may want to come here, confirming maybe a double top on the 4 hour chart, before price falls to this zone. Now that's a very good chance before price falls to this zone, and maybe after breaking here, come downwards to actually confirm lower low. But all the same, I will be putting my risk here. I would actually be risking here. There's something okay, sorry. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, so I'll actually be risking a short for now. First, I'll be risking a short position. with a small stop loss though, and for price to actually break downward. So I'm still bearish. I'm still bearish on the audusd. I'm sorry. I'm still bearish on the audusd. Want to give this some room, right? Okay, so it's a long-term scenario, so I'll still be risking a short trade, though I'm already on holding a small position which I'll be looking at on Monday, right? Since the major news may not be released on Monday, so I'll actually be keeping my eyes here, monitoring this trade, right, to see. But I'm expecting audusd to continue falling downwards, right? I'm still bearish on the audusd, guys. Okay, so analysis, guys, I'm still bearish on the audusd, so a sentimental analysis for the audusd remains bearish. However, guys, if price fails to break, if price actually next week actually breaks and close above the moving average, right? In the case where the price breaks and close above the moving average, definitely I will then be targeting this area. I'll then be targeting this area. Don't I know how to use? I'll then be targeting this area. If price actually breaks and close above the moving average after a retest, I'll then target this area for a long position, right? So that's my analysis for the audusd, right? That's my analysis for the audusd. Like I said, I'm bearish on the audusd. So guys, let's look at the euro usd most importantly. Okay,